Yo, Adobe, bro, I'm done. It is over. I've been using your tools for like 20 years and I'm triggered. Whether it's price increases or apps crashing or things just like not going right, I think it's about time that we have some space and we try to, we hang out with other people. I'm gonna say it's not you, but it is you.
So he said it's you.
For real, I've been using Adobe products for a very long time, and over the years, I've started to notice a few cracks that have made it really hard for my pipeline, for my content creating process. I just think it's about time that I try and find some alternatives to Adobe's software. I'm gonna take the 4 Adobe products I use the most, completely throw them out the door, placing them with some pretty sick alternatives, if I do say so myself. On the off chance you're looking for an alternative to Adobe products too, this video should help you out. Okay. Let's do this. First up, we have Premiere Pro. These days, finding an alternative to Premiere isn't that crazy. I've used many editing tools over the years, Sony Vegas, Final Cut. They always kept coming back to Premiere Pro. A little part of me wishes Movie Maker still just worked really well because Movie Maker on Windows XP was just an absolute banger. But considering we make so many videos here at Clipflow, we need something a little more stable than Movie Maker and somehow a little more stable than Premiere Pro. So if you're like me and you're looking for an alternative to Premiere Pro, I highly recommend DaVinci. Now, I've been using DaVinci for a lot of years. I'm a big fan of Blackmagic as a company. Their cameras slap. DaVinci year over year gets better and better and becomes a very legitimate replacement for Premiere Pro. Now, if you're just starting out in content or you're looking to try it out, the great news is it's free. So what are you doing? Try it out. But if you're like me and you full sent it and bought the studio copy, DaVinci is cheeky powerful. As a Mac user, DaVinci is fast. Rendering is insane on my M1 Mac. Plus, having the available color correction tools really pushed my ability and forced me to learn how to color correct properly to the point where I feel really comfortable grading in DaVinci for big and small projects. As a previous musician, wannabe producer, the audio mixing features in DaVinci are so good, and it means you don't have to switch to a whole nother application to make any adjustments to your audio. And I'm not even including all the crazy new AI stuff that actually makes a whole lot of sense inside of DaVinci. It is very quickly becoming my all-in-one tool for editing. And even though at first impressions it can feel like a steep learning curve, I highly recommend checking it out. Plus, it's one less Adobe product you have to use every day. I love you, Premiere Pro, but man, switching to Audition for just simple, it's driving me crazy. The next Adobe app I'm looking for an alternative to is Photoshop. Now, this one's a hard one for me because I'm a big Photoshop fan. It's another app that I've been using for almost 20 years. I'm talking all the way back to like old iMacs. Gosh. So iconic. But as time's gone on, it's been really hard to stick and stay in Photoshop. And before I give you an alternative, yes, Adobe's AI functionality inside of Photoshop has kept me there a little bit. Photoshop is a finesse tool, and that is super powerful. But for my use case, I'm making thumbnails a lot, I'm doing a lot of designs often, and I'm doing that with a team. And so trying to get pixel perfect design in Photoshop with the team is just a use case that Photoshop wasn't really built for. And so when I first joined Clipflow, the boys blew my mind with a tool called Figma. Everyone who uses Figma is like, yeah, bro, of course, use Figma. And at first, I thought this tool was just for people who did like web design. Who designs things in Figma anymore? I just vibe code it, you know what I'm saying? I don't do that. But quickly, I realized that Figma is so good for multiplayer editing.
We're switching to Figma slides.
And building thumbnails and designs as a team. Plus, it feels like every week, Figma's introducing new features and tools, especially in the AI department, because that is a big deal now, that keeps me in Figma over Photoshop. Now, I have a feeling diehard Photoshop experts will disagree with me, and that's fine. There are certain things that Photoshop is a weapon at. Color correcting photos, working with raw images, of course Photoshop's gonna crush at that, but there are plenty of other options out there for editing images. For me, most of my time is spent with design, and Figma is a special mix of Illustrator and Photoshop and AI tools. I don't know, man, it's just hard to step out of Figma right now. So is Photoshop going completely in the bin with Premiere Pro? Kind of like halfway, like it's in there. Maybe I might have to grab for it every now and then. I guess the point of this video is to prove you don't need to do that, so I'll let you decide. Okay, so next up we have Frame.io. Now, Frame.io is a tool that I've used for a lot of years. About 6 years ago, I started an editing agency and we worked with a bunch of really great creators, and we had a team of about 8 editors. And if you know anything about creating content, you know that sounds like an absolute nightmare for reviewing content. I mean, we were doing at least 8 long form videos a week for these creators. So reviewing stuff was a pain in the butt just through email or WhatsApp or however our creators talk to us. So Frame.io was our saving grace for a long time. It was awesome to have a tool where we could media review everything with notes and draw on the screen. It was a no-brainer, and the chances are you've probably encountered or seen Frame.io before. However, and I'm going to sound super biased because I'm building the tools to replace it, Frame.io really started to fall apart when it came to multiple clients, when it came to multiple revisions, multiple accounts. It felt super tricky to keep track of all the notes from clients, all the share links that we had, plus of course to manage our projects we were using something like Notion or ClickUp, and so making sure links were tied directly to that project was a nightmare. I even spent weeks trying to work out how to connect the API from Frame.io to Notion so that it would automatically update links, just stuff that I shouldn't have been doing as an agency owner. I should have been doing sales and making sure our product was great. Lesson learned. Now, like I said, I'm biased because I'm part of the team building it, but Clipflow fully replaced that. That's the channel you're watching this on, so of course we're going to talk about our own thing. I'm not going to hide that from you, but Clipflow makes it possible to do all your media reviews in one place with all your project management in one place, and everything is tied together with your assets and your team's tasks. True story, before I joined Clipflow, I was just a user of Clipflow, and it fully made it so much easier in our agency to work with our clients. It meant one less app and one less tool that our clients had to use because they could just do it all in Clipflow. They could create new projects, we could upload all our revisions. I mean, how much more do I have to sell you on this thing? Clipflow made such a big difference for our agency. I ended up moving the agency on to another founder and joining the team at Clipflow because I knew it had the potential to help so many agencies, founders, and creators. So this one's a no-brainer for me. Frame.io has been in the bin for a long time. Thank you for the memories, Frame.io, but Clipflow is here to stay. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what Clipflow can do. Okay, let's get to the last one. I'm not gonna lie, this one is a bit of a trickier one because it's a very niche use case. And it's one that I didn't even think I wanted to put in here, but I think we should talk about it anyway. I wasn't kidding when I said I've been using Adobe products for over 20 years. I learned in the 1 year Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and After Effects. Actually, After Effects was the very first Adobe product that I used fully, the one that I spent hours learning how to use. This may be incorrect, so call me out if this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure After Effects is still the same code base. It's still the same fundamental app after all these years. And still, it is industry standard for any motion graphics. It's industry standard for a lot of visual effects. I think that new movie Sketch that just came out used After Effects a bunch to create the crazy monsters. So After Effects could be the hardest one to just like chuck in the bin. It could take a little longer. However, the more I've been using DaVinci, the more I've realized, wait a second, Blackmagic are going all in here. They want to see this work. Now, straight up, if you're moving from After Effects to DaVinci, it can feel a little overwhelming using Fusion. You're going from a layer-based system to a node-based system. And there's probably a whole other video in there that we can go over another time. So just be aware, the learning curve is real. However, with all the tutorials you can watch on YouTube, as long as you have clarity on what you're trying to achieve, DaVinci is a really, really great alternative to After Effects for so many things. One of the challenges I want to do is to put our team who are well-versed in After Effects through a DaVinci bootcamp to see if they can create what they do for our channel in DaVinci, only DaVinci. But as far as my own content goes, I can do everything I need to do with DaVinci's tools to make content that I'm proud of. And I think ultimately that's the lesson of this whole video. There's a lot of tools out there that can help you get to where you're going. I mean, there's a lot of tools, but ultimately the goal is to try and find the tool that gets you there the quickest with the least amount of pain. Trust me, I've felt the pain. And as much as I've loved using Adobe products, and Adobe's part of the reason that I'm here even to begin with, it's nice having alternatives. It's nice knowing there's something else out there to use. So maybe it's time to rethink your setup. And if you want to see how we're building Clipflow to help teams like yours, stick around. Great content isn't going anywhere, and we really think we can bring life to that production pipeline. If you want to learn more about building a content team, check out this video here. Catch you in the next one.